Welcome to Real Money, Real Experts, a podcast where leading financial counseling and coaching experts share their stories, their challenges, and their advice for helping people manage money in the real world. I'm your host, Rachael de Leon, Executive Director of the Association for Financial Counseling and Planning Education, or AFCPE.
And I'm your co-host, Dr. Mary Bell Carlson, an accredited financial counselor, or AFC, and the president of Financial Behavior Keynote Group. Every episode, we're taking a deep dive in the topics that personal finance professionals care about, helping clients, building community, and your professional growth.
The opinions of our podcast guests are their own, which means that their stories, views, or lived experiences may differ from yours or mine. However, the one thing you will always find on this show is a common thread. Our guests are passionate about helping people with their money to improve their lives, and they believe in upholding high standards for the clients and the communities that they serve. We encourage you to tune in to Real Money, Real Experts with open curiosity. Why? Because it's oftentimes in the conversations where viewpoints or stories differ from our own that we learn the most. Mary, welcome back from Symposium.
Rachel, it was awesome this year. I just had such a good time. It's sometimes fun to be on both sides of the fence here, where you're both a participant, but you also see the behind the scenes. What was it like for you?
Yeah, same. I mean, I've only been behind the scenes, but honestly, one of the things I said to my board is every year this event breathes life into our organization and into our staff because we really get to see our community and the incredible work they're doing. But I also think it breathes life into the people who come to the event. You know, you come to a symposium to learn and to network, and I may be a little biased, but there's just something that little bit extra oomph and special about the symposium. And I really think it comes down to the people. You know, we bring in experts, but a lot of the experts that are leading the sessions are right in our community, and we're surrounded by these voices and this wisdom that lives right amongst us. And, you know, it's funny. It's kind of the reason we started the podcast. I mean, we really wanted to elevate the voices of the people that make up this incredible community, and it's a connector. And so, yeah, I just walk away every year, whether you're attending virtually or in person. I don't know about you, but I come away and I'm just glowing. Exhausted, but glowing.
So there's a couple of things I want to start with. First off, let's go to your team. Every year, I am so impressed with their professionalism, how well they operate. Even when hiccups happen, we don't even know it from a participant side because they handle it so professionally and well. And we all have to just take a moment and brag on Sarah. She does a dynamic job. When you are hosting both a virtual and an in-person conference, that is disaster for most event planners.
It is a juggle.
And she has just done such an incredible job. And I know there's so many others that support her and support you in this role.
Yeah.
And so I just want to take a special moment and just say thank you to the AFCPE team, because all of you just put a smile on your face. You make it so pleasant. You give hugs, you reach out. And I just always have felt that from everyone working at AFCP, that you want to be there. You want to connect with the community, which makes us feel like we belong when we come as participants. So thank you for the team. The thing that I notice as well is I think a lot, even this year, people coming in from the outside, because this is such a dynamic community. We've had people on this podcast that aren't super familiar with what AFC is, what the community's like, and they came. They come to the conference and they even find their people. That's the part that I love the most, is they are like, I had no idea you existed. And yet it just has become so interesting to me that when people come and they experience Symposium, virtual is great, but one of the things I heard multiple times when I was doing the podcast interviews was you have to be here in person. If you come to the in-person, it's even more amazing than the virtual. The virtual is really good for content and thoughts and ideas, but the number one thing I heard on every podcast interview I did was, I love coming back. Those that have come before love connecting with old friends. Those that are first-timers always say, this is such an accepting environment. I am always amazed at what I walk away with, and I walk away with new friends. So it's really the people that drive people to this symposium. And I don't think that's true in most other places. Like, it's good to connect with friends, but you're always coming for a cool speaker or something else. And while we have cool speakers and we have great content, it's the people. Like connecting with each other was really the number one thing I heard over and over again.
Yeah, coming out of my board meeting, we always do a board meeting on Tuesday. So my week is very long, but inspiring. And one of the things I gave my staff and my board this year were a pair of sunglasses. And it's very cheesy, but that is me. But it talked about the future being bright because of you, because of the board, because of the staff. And if I had the budget, I would give the entire community sunglasses because I think this is what separates us from others in this space. And a lot of people, there are great people all over this field working in different capacities, but there is just something unique. There's this feeling of abundance, I always say, within the AFCPE community. They are learning from each other, and there's not this feeling of scarcity. It's like, what can I do to help you? And how can I learn from you? And you just feel that. And so I'm very proud of the community that we build and love every part of what you just said, and it really resonates with me. So thank you, Mary.
One of the things that I also want to emphasize is let's talk about the content for a second, because the second thing that I heard the most was the quality of sessions. And we're not just talking about the keynote sessions. We're talking about the breakouts, the connecting, even the small group meetups. I heard time and time again, that is where the magic happens. And that magic is putting research into practice and practice informing research. That's what I think is so unique about this community is that it's all of us working together. You find academics, you find practice, you find private sector, public sector, nonprofit, for-profit. It's a melting pot for industries, for companies, for individuals that are even figuring out what they want to do next. And it allows them a space to come and learn, and you really get the best of the best. That's what I think is so amazing about these sessions. And they're all over the map. I know one session I went to was about podcasting, right? And yet many of them were about research papers and what they're learning in that. So you get this really unique blend of various topics, everything from student loan debt to how to start and run your own practice. There's just a ton of practical application, but also theoretical framework to ensure that this is evidence-based practices and not just someone's best thought.
Yeah, and I think because of that diversity, you can figure your schedule in a way that's really unique to you. So I was talking with someone who really was focusing on, this year looking into accessibility, DEI. So she picked her sessions based on that and kind of made her own track, where others, kind of like you said, you can kind of grab a little piece from every area. And the beauty is we record them all. So if you missed one, back in the day, you had to tag team. Now you don't have to do that as much. You can go back and listen to the content.
What I also like about AFCP is you don't predetermine the tracks for us. You allow us. So you mix and match. And that's really kind of cool as a participant, because I don't feel like I'm missing out. And I did hear that quite often of, oh, good, this is recorded, so I can go back and watch something else. Because I know myself, there was two happening at the same time, one I had to be in and the other one next door that I was like, oh, I really want to be in that one. And so you always get that chance to go back.
A thought I had too, because, one of the things I think that's really unique about a conference, whether you're attending in person or doing it virtually, is we are moving a mile a minute all the time, juggling work, life, family. And there's something about taking that time away. It's giving yourself the pause. I think a lot of people, we would go into these sessions and absorb the information, and what it left them with is like, now they have questions and thoughts that they can continue to kind of work through, and they have the space to do that. And so I would just say, I've been thinking a lot too, as I go, when I'm there, I'm juggling a lot of things and I don't get to attend as many sessions. So now going back and like carving out that time in your schedule and creating that space in your everyday life to make sure that you make the time to do that. Because sometimes I forget to pause in that when I'm in my daily life, to give myself that space for creativity and thought and growth that I do when I'm at the symposium.
One final thought from this is the vibe that is there. And when you attend in person, it is really this unique vibe that you don't get other places. And it is a vibe of of acceptance and of kindness. And I look over and I see a variety of backgrounds, of experiences, of life experiences. And that's the coolest part is it's just a melting pot full of people who are with open arms, willing and wanting to accept you in and say, hey, there's a space for you. Come sit next to me. Let's have a conversation. The real magic, and this is probably true at most conferences, but I think the real magic happens in the hallway, right? And that's
Yeah.
the key part for this conference that sets it apart is the willingness that people have to talk about the background or what makes them unique or how they got into business. And I think that's the cool part that you can always replicate is being able to listen to that and hear that and then maybe try it out for yourself. I know that happened for me. I was in a session and I had planned I was going to do something this year. And then all of a sudden she started asking questions. I was like, oh, hadn't thought of that. Hadn't figured out that part yet. And it just really was helpful to slow down, like you had mentioned,
Yeah.
and really kind of hit the brakes for a small moment to be like, oh, there's a better way to go forward with this. That's where the value of AFCP Symposium is giving you that time to think and process.
I think the vibe too is, we are a community of financial professionals. Many are coaches, counselors, educators. And I think intrinsically, we tend to be a curious group and we tend to be a people centered group. And I think that is one of those things that makes us really unique. And, I kicked off my opening session with the word that I felt as I was going into this week was hope. And the reason that word resonated with me, it's November, we are coming off an election, and I won't be political, but, I think there's just a lot of questions about what lies ahead, and the world feels uncertain, not only for us, but also for the people that we serve. And when you come into a space of, you may not agree with every person that sits in that room, you all have very different lifestyles and backgrounds, and you're all using the designation or doing the work a little bit differently, but you're coming in with this place of acceptance and curiosity and people first. And I felt that as soon as I walked in the door, and that word resonated with me. And so it was a fantastic week, Mary.
It really was.
I will say we had promised not to do our recap today, and we thought we would try something different this year because you always hear from Mary and I post event. And so this year we sent Mary out into the wild with a microphone to ask all of you, the people that were there, a little bit about their experience. And we thought it would be a really fun way, not to highlight our voices, but to highlight the voices of the community. So, Mary, tell us a little bit about your experience on the loose with a microphone.
Oh, it was so much fun. I do admit there were quite a few people who were like, no way, I don't want to do that, that were scared to death. I did get a lot of questions of, is this on video or is this audio only?
Yeah.
But no, it was really a fun experiment for me personally because I ran into people I had never met before. Some were first time AFCP Symposium attenders. Some had been there many, many times. Some had just recently gotten the designation. Some didn't have it yet. And so I thought it was such a cool way to be able to experience Symposium on a very personal level. It was very much a one-on-one. And yet those were the themes that I saw connecting time and time again is the people, the quality of sessions, and just the vibe that carried throughout and resonated throughout the event. It was also fun to interview people who had been online and what they recommended versus going online versus coming in person. And every one of them that I interviewed said, yes, if you cannot attend, do the online. But if there's any way you can get there, come in person because it makes it so valuable. And I just appreciate those that took 5 minutes out and got over that fear. I know that several of them were like, I don't know what I'm doing, but they were so natural once they got into it. It was just a really fun experience to hear from all of you, what you experienced and what that experience was like. So I appreciate those that were willing to jump in on the fly and spend a few minutes with me. It was really fun.
All right, Mary, let's see what some of our attendees had to say.
I'm Lisa Whitley from Washington, D.C. I am the chair of the AFCP Government Relations Task Force.
What would you say to private practitioners that maybe don't have a home or a community? What would you tell them about this symposium?
Well, I would tell them the symposium is your home in your community. I mean, this is my third one in person, and just the opportunity to see the same people year after year and who are walking that same path. And every year when I leave, I come with this notebook of ideas. I should do this. I should do this. Things I hadn't thought of doing. So yeah, this is your community. You're not alone.
My name is Beth Ann Vandevort. I volunteer in multiple capacities in different nonprofits around Atlanta, Georgia. I really enjoy the people that I meet. I see some of the same individuals throughout each year, as well as I'm able to interact with them. I've been part of the mentor mentee program, and I really just enjoy connecting face to face with those individuals at the symposium.
And I hear you're an AFC candidate yourself. Is that true?
Yes, that is true. I recently became a candidate, and so I've been a part-time financial coach for about 5 years, and I also have co-authored a book. And so through that experience, I was really able to hone in on my coaching style. But as time has gone on, I've really realized that it's important for me to have that certification and really be able to say I'm a financial counselor. And I'm actually the head of coach success for my budget coach. So I lead over 25 coaches in monthly meetups, as well as supporting them and their businesses. So becoming a financial counselor and a certified coach really allows me to help build the AFC community in the coaches that are launched with my budget coach as well. So I'm excited to be a candidate. I almost have my hours, and I'm hoping to sit in December or early 2025 to be certified.
Well, that's great. We're glad to have you. Now, there's several out there that maybe are thinking that same thing of maybe I should get the certification. What advice would you give them?
Yeah, so I would say that the certification can really help you understand a lot more of the sphere of financial, personal finance outside of what you're comfortable with. So each of us as coaches have niche audiences generally, and we also have our own approach. But the AFCPE certification and webinars really teach you the global scope of regulations, or how to approach certain situations, or how to make sure to be aware of certain scenarios that you as a coach maybe have never seen, but in the future and as you continue your business, it could really help you become that much more of a well-rounded coach.
Hi, I am Melissa Mazard. I live in Washington, D.C., and I work for a company called Zedek DC.
Awesome. Melissa, what brought you to this year's symposium?
This year, well, I've been an AFC for several years now. I have just been a part of the community, but on the outskirts. I really wanted the opportunity to come and just be in person, meet some of the people that I've sat in webinars with, have sat in book clubs with, have done work with in just different capacities. And it was just a great opportunity to come and have that experience in person.
So what's been your highlight this year?
The highlight is seeing people in person. And I've done work with people across the country, across the world, in some cases, and just seeing and being able to put an actual face to it, and just being amongst people who are true professionals at this, and it's not just something that is a hobby or they want to make money off of. It's like this is people's life's work, and the work that we do is so meaningful. And just to be around this energy has been a highlight.
Awesome. And what would you tell someone who's never been to Symposium before?
Come to Symposium, first of all. You'll get to interact with all of these amazing change makers and people doing work to change the trajectory of people's financial lives and wellness. So it's just a great experience to actually have that in person. It's worth it. It's indescribable, but it's definitely something you should try to experience.
I am Sarah Losi from Georgetown, Texas, and I'm here as Favorite Daughter Media.
Now, Sarah, what brings you to AFCP Symposium this year?
I'm here because I am an AFC. I went through the program 2 years ago, and it was an amazing experience, and I loved how much I learned. And even though I left the finance industry for podcast and media, I came back so I can try to teach some people here a little bit about what I know and how they can grow their businesses with podcasts.
What is it like in this year's vibe at the conference?
It is different than most of the conferences I go to since they're in the media space and they're really big parties. And this one it's quiet and it's nice and I love it because it's a time that you can actually have conversations with people and everyone is so interested in getting to know each other and everyone is just so kind and welcoming and it's a really relaxed feeling for especially for a conference in the finance space. This one is a really, really great community.
Awesome. And tell us, what is it like as a female in finance to come to a conference like this?
It's refreshing. This one is very diverse. There's a lot of gender and racial diversity, and everyone here is just so open to learning from anybody.
My name is Amanda Policelli. I'm from Orlando, Florida, and I am AFCPE's executive coordinator.
Awesome. We're so glad to have you. And this is your first AFCPE Symposium.
Yes,
Tell us
it
about
is.
the vibe at this year's event.
The vibe for this year's symposium is inclusivity. Everyone's been very welcoming, and it's really cool as a young professional to learn a lot from the older generation. Spice it up a bit, you know?
Yeah. Now tell us, you've been to other conferences in the past. How does this compare to other conferences you've been to?
I think everyone at AFCPE since the time I've started, so it's been about like 7 to 8 months so far, and everyone's just been so encouraging and inviting. And if I don't know things, because we all don't know things, right? We're all not experts right at the beginning. Everyone's been really, really kind and understanding, and the listening is just amazing.
And tell us, what would you tell someone who's never been to an AFCP and Symposium, what they can expect?
Ooh, they can expect a party and that it's going to be iconic.
Hi, Simi Mandelbaum. I am an AFC, an FBS, and a CFT. I am by myself. Actually, no, I'm never by myself. I'm here with everyone. These are all my people.
I love it. And so that was my question. Why did you choose to come to AFCP this year to the symposium?
Well, I did present as on the posters, so I did have a reason to share something that I'm passionate about, which was the art of listening and help other people, as well as meet so many people I don't get to meet on a day-to-day or even week-to-week. We meet year after year. I love seeing what's new, what's upcoming, what's happening in my industry. As a private practitioner in my field, I want to know what is the updated research, tools, and anything else I can learn from.
What would you say to any private practitioners out there that haven't attended an AFCP symposium before?
You learn so much. And what's amazing here is the heart that everyone has. I just feel like the people here are so kind. They want to volunteer. They want to do good. There's so many non-for-profit and military and just help out there that whatever you want to do in your practice, you will find someone that can help you as well.
I am Stacey Livingston Hoyt, financial coach and counselor with Financial Care Today. The symposium is where I get to refresh. I refresh, I reflect, I learn, I connect with the people that I've known for a long time, and I love connecting with new people as well. Being a part of community is so important to being an AFC, and the AFCP community just has it all. I love that we have people in private practice, we have researchers, so we can marry both sides, and it's the best of everything. So that's why I keep coming back every year, and that's why I'm here this year.
What would you recommend to someone who maybe has been a long time AFCP member but has never come to Symposium?
Wow. Oh my gosh. I hate to say it, but this is one of those situations where you are definitely missing out. And, we've got to continue to grow and learn and develop and just kind of feed off of each other. I would just encourage you to take that small leap and see. I've not heard of anyone be disappointed in coming to the FCP forum.
My name is Michael Sear. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama, and I'm the executive director of the Opportunity Initiative. It's really, really inspiring and motivating to meet the folks that are working with customers, that are out where the rubber meets the road every day, working with individuals and making a difference and changing lives.
I'm Kaylee Rank. I am with the American College of Financial Services, and I currently reside in Greenville, South Carolina. As a person who does research and as a traditional researcher, I really like to see how research sometimes just isn't embedded in those academic journals, but that this is an opportunity and a place and a location where we get to see how that research translates to practice, and also what some of the trends are and the pulse check of what's happening within the industry and practitioners who are working on the ground with clients, both through counseling, coaching, and advisory services. I have run into a lot of old colleagues, peers, and students from my previous lives professionally. And so that's just been really fantastic. And everyone's been incredibly warm, which is really nice.
Hi, I'm Beth Darius from Springfield, Virginia. I call it being with my financial nerds week. It fills my soul to be around my people, so to speak, and to hear what they are looking at, to hear what researchers are looking at, to hear what the practitioners are doing, and to see that linkage between what's going on in the research and what's going on in the field and how they blend together and feed off each other.
What really brought you here the first time?
I think I got a scholarship, and it was just the opportunity. I was very new to financial counseling and had just earned my AFC, and it was really the door opener for many, many opportunities that I've had since then.
And what would you recommend to someone who's never been before?
Go as soon as you can. If you can go in person, go in person. If you can't, participate virtually, but be open to the experience and pick something out of the norm that you wouldn't normally listen to or attend, just to find another perspective on something you can do in the financial counseling and education world.
I am Kyle Gravengood. I am from Holland, Michigan.
You have been heavily invested in AFCPE as a volunteer for many years. Why do you choose to volunteer with AFCPE?
AFCPE and the AFC was one of the probably most significant moves I made in my career. I don't know that it was the most important move, but it was one of the best moves that I've made because it's the move that opened the main door to get me into full-time financial counseling. I like the research aspect of it. I'm not a researcher. I've never been a researcher, but I like hearing the research, and I like how it's not in the research academic lingo. It's in real terms because I'm not an academic. And I read the academic terms and reports and papers, and I'm like, what did I just read? Like, I have to read it again. But here, I actually get to hear the researcher and the presenter and talk about their research in a way that's actually in English.
So that practical application of research really solidifies it for you. And what would you recommend to somebody who's never been to AFCPE Symposium before?
If you can go as soon as you can go. They have lots of scholarship opportunities, but it's worth it to take the risk.
Hi, my name is Nancy Sullivan Graff, and I am recently retired from BMI Federal Credit Union, which is actually located in Columbus, Ohio.
We're so glad to have you again this year. Tell us, what has brought you back to AFCPE each year?
Well, I've been coming to the symposiums for many years. When I first got employed in the area of financial education, I was the first employee at the credit union that was in that area. I was looking for a group and for more information to learn more, to make sure I was doing a proper job. And we were opening up counseling and we were doing workshops. And I actually found the symposium I think I just did a Google search years ago, saw what they were presenting. It was in Louisville, which is drivable from here. This is what I need. And I went to that symposium, and it was perfect for what we were trying to build out, a financial education program that had many components to it: counseling, online learning, tons of workshops that evolved into webinars and publications. And AFCPE was such a wonderful resource for me and help us. I needed to know I was on the right track. And it was just, people were so nice. It was so fun. So I've been coming to the symposium for years. And I finally got the actual AFC, I think last year, towards the tail end of my career, because my window was closing. I'm like, I need to just take the test. But I had got so much good information from their webinars and their workshops. And I remember I watched a ton of stuff that Summer did, and I think Ryan was another one that I've watched a ton of their, like when I'm here, it's like, I feel like they're celebrities because I saw them so much on the screen, but very helpful information. And also in the pandemic, which was very critical for us to be a good resource to the credit union members who were suffering. AFCP again stood up and put some great workshops on about what was going on with the relief, and was just it was always a great resource for me. So I'm back because I didn't want to miss it. And I also wanted to see my fellow AFCs and people from the credit union.
My name is Chris Browning. I'm with the School of Financial Planning at Texas Tech University, and I'm from Lubbock, Texas. I was really looking to do something a little bit different with the conference experience. And so when it came time to select conferences, I'd always heard great things about AFCPE. I love the mission and what the organization is all about. And being here has been everything that I expected it to be. Met great people, been a part of great sessions, and I've really enjoyed my time here so far. If you're looking for a community of people that really care about impacting the lives of the people that they serve, that this is that community. There's so much camaraderie. There's so much what feels like brother and sisterhood here. It's just really neat. And the passion for serving others and the breadth and depth of the way that people do it is really impressive.
My name is Jenny Whiteley, and I am with Utah State University, and I teach a family finance class, and I do financial coaching and counseling there for them. I think I had mentors that said, come try this, come do this. And I came and I learned each time that I kind of found my people that could speak the same language, had the same questions, had, wanted to do the same helping things that I wanted to do for students and young adults. And then being able to do some presentations and stuff has also, okay, maybe I'm doing something that is helping somebody out there and that other people can use. That's also been something that's brought me back and connecting with people.
I'm Deanna O'Neill, accredited financial counselor. I am the owner of Key Financial out of Washington State. I am also financial advisor and investment advisor representative.
Awesome. Deanna, what brings you to AFCPE this year?
Well, this is my 5th or 6th year, I have to remember, that I've come. And every year it is just different information, new information, amazing connections, and really just being able to talk with other educators and deal with all the resources and learn. It's such a great event. I love coming every year, so I'm happy to be here.
What's been a highlight for you this year?
I think the highlight is really something that I get every year. We go to the sessions. The presenters are amazing. They give great information. And then the questions that are asked at the end of every session are just, wow, enlightening. You're like, oh, you're dealing with that. I'm dealing with that too. It's so really cool to just hear what's going on in the field and hear what people are dealing with. So that actually is my favorite part.
Awesome. And what would you recommend for somebody who has never been to an AFCPE conference before?
I mean, the first thing I'd say is go. If you don't know what an AFC is, get your AFC, learn about it, experience it. Because if you've never come and really been here in person, it's very different than the virtual. I did do the virtual one during COVID and it was fine. You get a lot of good information, but the connections and being able to meet people from all over the country, all over the world, actually. I had dinner with a guy who's here from Germany. It's fantastic. So I would say do it at least once, because then you get hooked and you will be back every year to say hi to your friends and to really continue those relationships, those professional relationships as well.
Mary, it's always great to hear the voices of our community, and that was a really kind of fun way to recap the week. As we close out, this is our last episode of 2024, but we also have another announcement that's a little bittersweet. And so today, Mary, is your very last episode of Real Money, Real Experts as the podcast host.
Oh, Rachel, it's bittersweet for me. I have really enjoyed it. It's been 5 years. I am just shocked. When I look back, I remember applying for this, and I was actually going through a very hard time personally in my life. I had just lost 2 babies at the time, and I remember telling my husband, I need something to pull me out. And I saw this come along and was just so appreciative of the opportunity. And I can't tell you how much that has exposed me to things and people that I would have never experienced otherwise. It has been a pleasure to be a co-host with both Rebecca and you as we go through these various journeys. I've really loved getting to know people. I've always been a people person, but I've learned to hone my questions and really be interested in what others are saying, in their ideas and their thoughts and where they're coming from. It's such a supportive community, and it's been really fun to interview people both in the community, and sometimes we get experts outside of the community who then become members of the community. And that's fun to watch their personal growth and journey. So I would say it's been such a blessing for me to be able to see others change, but also my own personal growth. I did realize earlier this year and reached out and said, it's my turn to pass the baton on to the next person, because I know that it's been such a positive experience for me, and I wanted others to be able to experience that as well.
Thank you, Mary. And you've been a good friend and a mentor to me through this as well. When I stepped into the executive director role, it kind of came with the hat of podcast co-host. It wasn't as natural as I thought it would be, and it takes time. And Mary has just been the perfect person to have by my side. We've grown both together professionally and as friends. And so this is bittersweet for me as well. But for all of you listeners, we'll just have Mary back on, this time on the other side of the mic as a guest. So looking forward, Mary, to following your journey.
Rachel, one thing I have to add in there is we've shared more laughs than anything else. And I think that's been my favorite part of the podcast, is we always take yourself not too seriously. And that's something I've really enjoyed with you over the years, is just being able to smile and make our guests feel at ease and feel accepted and glad they're here. And so that's probably been the funnest part of the journey, is the experiences, all the laughter that we've had, and just good experiences. One day we'll put out a blooper reel.
I know we keep saying that. I think the magic behind this podcast is Joe Fox, but I always think he must have like a bin in the basement of all of our bloopers that he's holding for ransom, because we've had quite a few. Some from our guests, many from us. He makes us sound great. But yeah, Mary, that's been one of my favorite parts too. You have an entrepreneurial spirit, and I feel like we interview a lot of guests on here with an entrepreneurial spirit, and I'm just really excited to work alongside you with Behavioral Finance Keynote Group and to see all that is going to be in this next chapter.
Well, thank you so much.
Well, as we look ahead to next year, we're going to go on a little break through the holiday season and plan to come back in February. And so I just encourage all of our listeners, use this time to explore the episodes we have out there. Like Mary said, I think a lot of our guests have taken us on a journey as well. And we've learned so much about work and life and overcoming hurdles. And that's part of the beauty of this podcast. And so I just encourage you to take some time, catch up on all the episodes that you missed, and join us back here in early 2025. We'll have something special and new, and we're excited to bring you along with us.